So why did you bring your mother, Anna, at our place without even asking me about it?
Because if she continues to live at that house, my mom would have no place for her, and she would just suffocate.
How long are you planning to have Anna stay here at our place?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe until everything calms down, I guess.
I wanted to question my husband, Sam, further about what he meant when he said that. But more than that, I was just disappointed by how my husband was really overprotective about his own mother, or rather, how he acted like a mama's boy. My name is Tia, and I am 30 years old, working in a company. I married my husband, Sam, and it has been 3 years now since we got married. My husband and I do not have any kids yet at the moment, and both of us are working. I am better at doing most of the house chores than my husband, so I basically do all the cleaning and cooking around the house. But when there were days where I had to work overtime and had to work really late, my husband will cook very simple meals for me, and on weekends he would clean the shower, bath, and toilet. So I believe that we have a reasonably well-balanced life as a married couple. But recently, there has been a slight change in our everyday life. That is that my husband has been visiting his parents' place a lot more frequently than before. The reason for this is probably due to my husband's father, who had passed away about 6 months ago. My father-in-law, Jack, and my mother-in-law, Anna, used to live together in their house. But when Jack passed away and Anna was left all alone, my husband's brother, Cameron, and his wife, Susan, began living with Anna. But unfortunately, ever since they started living together, it seems that Anna, Cameron, and Susan are not getting along very well. So, my husband has been visiting over, going to their place to be their mediator, and standing in between them as they fight with each other frequently. At first, I think that both Cameron and Susan were doing reasonably well living together with Anna. Anna was really depressed at the time when Jack suddenly passed away and left her, and she definitely needed someone's support right away. Even I took some time out of my work schedule to visit Anna at her house to support her for a little while. But thanks to the efforts made by Cameron and Susan, Anna had gradually regained her health and became more positive. And I remember that we were all saying to each other how relieved we all were because of that. So, when Anna got much better, an unexpected incident struck Cameron and Susan. The incident involved Cameron and Susan's daughter, Sarah, who was a grandchild for Anna. Anna, who had regained her energy and health, began to strictly educate Cameron and Susan's daughter for some reason. Cameron and Susan's daughter was only 3 years old, but Anna keeps on strictly telling her things like, "You don't know how to hold the spoon properly," or yelling, "You better eat all the vegetables," to Sarah. And if she didn't finish her meal completely, Anna would have Sarah continue to sit by the table and not allow her to do anything else, and just educated her very strictly in a really old-fashioned way. Susan, on the other hand, wanted to let her own daughter have as much freedom as possible, which was her own way of raising her daughter. So she wanted to follow a policy of not being too strict on her daughter. But Anna is so strict and educating Sarah in a strict way that Susan is struggling to stop her every time she tries to be strict to Sarah. Cameron also agrees with Susan's way of raising their own child, and has been warning Anna about how strict she was, but unfortunately, Anna does not listen to him at all and is doing whatever she wants. But since Cameron comes home late at night after work, Susan had to try and stop Anna's outrageous outbursts all by herself during the day and during dinner time. After that, both Cameron and Susan discussed the issue to Anna and made a promise that they would do their house chores separately. And since then, for a while, Anna did not really interfere with the married couple or their daughter. But since they did not live separately as they were living in the same house, Anna gradually began to break her promise and began over-interfering as usual, and everything had gone back to how it was in the beginning. Anna also began to act so selfishly that it was appalling to hear her throw away Susan's clothes without any permission just because the clothes looked old, or also threw away Sarah's favorite clothes, saying, "This doesn't look good on her." And then one day, an incident occurred. While Susan was shopping at the supermarket for groceries, Anna and Sarah were left alone for about 20 minutes. At this point, Sarah was now 4 years old, and she was playing in the living room, and Anna was there, so Susan let her guard down, thinking that everything would be fine while she went to the supermarket. Then, when Susan came home from shopping, she saw something that was surprising and unexpected. Anna was cutting Sarah's hair very short. To this, Susan was screaming at Anna, asking her, "What are you doing?" and immediately began questioning Anna. Then Anna replied, "A child this age plays outside more often, don't you think? And all the girls' hair grows long very quickly, so you might as well cut it short," and said this as if she had done the right thing. Sarah looked as if she was about to cry, as her hair was being cut really short. After that, Cameron came back home, and finding out about what had happened, Cameron and Anna had the biggest argument ever, and that is where my husband comes in, as he is being the mediator between the two of them lately. But what I think personally is that as long as there is already a huge gap between Cameron and Anna, there seems to be no room for improvement, even if my husband intervenes. Besides, no matter how much I listen to what had happened in a logical way, the cause is entirely Anna's fault. And yet, Anna does not seem to think that it is all her fault at all. So, I think that's another reason why Anna is having conflicts and arguments with Cameron and Susan. I said to my husband, "If you are going to hold the line between Anna and Cameron, I think you need to make sure that Anna is aware of what is wrong." But to this, he replied saying, "No, it's not my mom's fault. She's doing the right thing." And my husband was completely on Anna's side and agreeing with what she had done. Hearing what Sam had to say, I really questioned if he was the right mediator for Anna, Cameron, and Susan. I contacted Susan because I was concerned about whether Sam was functioning properly as a mediator. Although there were days when he made frequent trips to their house and even stayed overnight. Then to this, Susan replied, "To be honest, the gap between us got even more worse since Sam got involved here." Oh, I knew it. According to Susan's story, my husband kept saying to Cameron, "You should understand Mom's point of view," and said things which was defending Anna, and to that, Anna would take advantage of what Sam was saying and say even more terrible things or act even more terrible towards Cameron and Susan. Since then, Cameron got tired of Anna and Sam and is completely unwilling to deal with them, and now Cameron and Susan is making preparations to leave the house. Hearing this story, I apologized to Susan about my husband. To that, Susan said, "Well, this would have happened sooner or later," and did not blame my husband for making things worse, even though it was his fault. That night, I arrived home after work and waited for my husband to come home so that I could teach him a lesson for what he had done. But then, Sam did something in which I had never imagined him to do.
"I'm home."
"Welcome home. I need to talk to you about something."
"Oh, yeah, me too. It'll finish quick, though. Mother!"
"Huh?" My husband had brought Anna into this house. "Well, long time no see, Tia." Hello." I immediately grabbed my husband by the neck and questioned him as I whispered into his ears. "What is the meaning of this, Sam? So why did you bring your mother, Anna, at our place without even asking me about it?"
"Because if she continues to live at that house, my mom would have no place for her and she would just suffocate."
"How long are you planning to have Anna stay here at our place?"
"Oh, I don't know. Maybe until everything calms down, I guess."
I wanted to question my husband, Sam, further about what he meant when he said that. But more than that, I was just disappointed by how my husband was really overprotective about his own mother, or rather, how he acted like a mama's boy. When I was visiting Anna's house frequently, I didn't really notice it. But hearing Susan's stories and witnessing this kind of behavior made it clear to me that my husband is a mama's boy. But just because he's a mama's boy does not mean that he should have brought home Anna without even telling me anything about it. I decided that I needed to have a proper discussion with my husband, so I told him that we would discuss it further after our work the next day, and that we'd discuss this somewhere outside where Anna was not there. I even sent him the address of a coffee shop during my lunch break and told him to meet me after work. But my husband did not show up even after waiting for him about an hour. I even sent a text message to him, but he did not respond at all. So I had no choice but to go home, and when I went back home, my husband was at home already, happily eating dinner with his mother.
"Oh, welcome home, Tia. My mom made some fried chicken and pasta tonight. They're really delicious, so you should hurry up and eat too, Tia."
I couldn't stop being irritated and frustrated at Sam. Then, while Anna was gone to the bathroom, I quickly began questioning my husband. "We promised that we'd discuss about your mother today, right? So why didn't you come to the coffee shop?"
"Well, because my mom said that she was going to make fried chicken and pasta today. Besides, there's nothing much to discuss about my mother, is there?"
"Ha! There is so much to talk about. Like about what had happened to Cameron and Susan, and how long you're going to have Anna here." There was so much that I wanted to say to Sam, but the discussion was interrupted since Anna had returned back to her seat from the bathroom. And a few days later, when I tried to discuss it with my husband, he brushed it off, and it seemed like Anna would not be leaving either anytime soon. I was getting really irritated and frustrated by this point that I could no longer concentrate on my work or focus on my house chores, so I took a paid leave from work for one day. I felt restless at home, so I went shopping for the first time in a while, went to a coffee shop which I had been wanting to visit, and relaxed as much as I could. I went out in the morning and came home around 2 p.m., and no one was home, and it was too early to cook dinner, so I began to lay down on the living room couch and watched the TV. Then suddenly, the doorbell rang. I wondered who it was, and when I opened the door, I saw the delivery man, and there were several huge cardboard boxes next to him. I thought that This was strange, since neither my husband or I ordered anything that huge. So I looked at the invoice and saw that they were all addressed to Anna, and that the sender was my husband. And this was when I finally realized what was happening. My husband was going to completely take Anna in with him and live with her here. Once I began to think that and connect the dots, I felt all these affectionate feelings I had for my husband disappear. I had been trying to think of a way to make everyone happy, Anna, Sam, and Cameron, and Susan, but I had realized that there was no way that everyone can be happy. And I also learned how selfish and irredeemable my husband is, and how hopeless the situation was. That day, my husband was still hanging around and being with Anna most of the time, and came home after having dinner with her. Then, the next day, when I saw him at the dinner table, my husband said,
"Oh, by the way, my mom's packages will be arriving around today, so please take care of it."
To this, I replied back saying, "Oh, those packages. I sent them back." And my husband replied angrily, saying,
"What? Why? What are you doing?"
And he sounded really furious. I was just too tired to even fight Sam, so I simply said, "I just don't approve of Anna living together in this house." And to that, my husband snapped.
"You've got to be kidding. If that's the case, then you better get out of here,"
saying really stupid things. I've already had enough, and I didn't want to deal with my husband, so I said, "Well, I'm going back to my parents' house for today," and went to work. My husband came out from the living room and said,
"Don't you ever come home again,"
which didn't make any sense at all, but I ignored it. I really couldn't care less anymore about Sam and didn't even want to talk to him anymore. That day, I went back to my parents' house after work. I spent the next few days relaxing at my parents' house and at the same time making certain preparations. During that time, I received several phone calls and messages from my husband, but all he said was apologize to my mother and I, and other selfish, stupid things, so I ignored all of the text messages and blocked his calls. Then, when everything was ready, I went home for the first time in a long time. Seeing me back home, my husband said,
"Oh, so you came back because you're sorry,"
and grinned at me while he said this. "Yes, I'm sorry."
"Well then, I forgive you."
It was annoying to see my husband's idiotic, triumphant look on his face. Oh, please, don't get me wrong. What I was saying sorry for is that I was regretting my mistake of marrying a stupid person like you.
"What?"
"I can't keep on doing this with you anymore, so let's just get a divorce." And saying that, I handed him the divorce papers.
Divorce? Are you being serious?"
My husband was surprised, but when he realized that I was being dead serious, he said,
Fine. Have it your way. I'll divorce you,"
and signed the divorce papers.
"Get all your stuff together and get the hell out of here."
I couldn't really believe he was still saying these things like that. So I showed my husband a document, as he was misunderstanding a lot.
"What the hell is this?"
"It's the contract for this room." "Oh, Sam, did you even forget that my parents are the ones who own this apartment room?" Then I saw my husband's face turn completely pale.
"Oh,
So, you and Anna should be the ones to leave this place, okay? I've decided to lend this room to another person, so you have until the end of the month to get out of here, okay?"
Hey, wait a minute. Let's just discuss this properly."
"Excuse me? What the hell are you saying? You're the one who's been refusing to discuss about everything I've been trying to discuss with you about all along, weren't you?"
"Yes, that's right, but..."
finally, at this point, it seems that my husband understood the importance of the situation. Anyways, just pack up your stuff and go back to Anna's house with her, okay?
No, I can't. Actually,
according to my husband's story, Anna's house had already been put up for sale. Cameron and Susan had already moved out of the house, so my husband and Anna came to the stupid conclusion that since Cameron and Susan left, Sam and Anna would just sell the house and use that money for Anna's retirement funds and live here instead. Hearing what had happened, I was just too stunned and speechless about how stupid Sam and Anna was being. Anywho, just get out quickly, okay? If you both won't leave, I'll call the police on you. My husband had a look of despair on his face, and he looked really hopeless. I ignored him and just packed my bags and left the house. After that, I heard that Anna and Sam had rented a reasonably priced apartment for them to live in together. But my ex-husband's salary alone did not allow the two of them to live in such a nice room, and the room was much downgraded from the one they had been living in. So Anna constantly complained about it to him, and because of that, my ex-husband was always irritated and frustrated. As for Cameron and Susan, they took this opportunity to move to the countryside, and they are now living comfortably in a place which is really rich in nature. And as for me, I am enjoying the life all on my own in an apartment for a single person. Recently, I also began to have a cat as my pet, and now I enjoy playing and hanging around with the cat at home every day after work, which helps me relax my mind too. Because of what had happened, I don't want to be in love for a while now, so I'm going to enjoy my life with the cat to the fullest. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.